Today I'll bring you some practical positions, useful shapes, and ideas. Let's begin. With the first position, Black did not extend forward as usual. Black skipped the usual forward extension. Perhaps Black felt, after extending back, that repeats the same idea, so Black declined. Extension too narrow. To play it, the exact reason is not our focus. This corner enclosure also works. This push matters. Hane first gets clamped, losing the push. Push first. Push, take scent with Atari, then extend back. That is not today's key point. Black presses back naturally. And Black approaches to put White under pressure. Now choose A, B, or C. Black has thickness across the top and another. Large wall on the right. How should White handle this position? The point of this problem is how to reduce and restrict opposing thickness. This position is easy to misunderstand. We are not looking for the move you usually play. A is playable, but I do not recommend it. There are two reasons. First, Black's 3-3 invasion is powerful. No usual descent. Only Hane. White must Hane here. After the Hane and the jump, Black completes the sequence. And the framework becomes obviously huge. This pincer is common when White can handle. So I do not recommend this pincer. C also loses too much. Normally White presses, gives up corner territory to emerge. White takes Sente, then pincers on the right. While attacking. But what does pressing accomplish now? Those stones would be terribly inefficient. A diagonal move may beat extending here. White may only turn. White cannot block here. In trouble again. So, why do? I recommend the Hane and connect, defend the corner. The corner. Second, this Hane guards. Second, and more importantly, what if Black seals us? Being sealed in is not scary. White still. Look underneath. Once White clamps, Black becomes thin. If Black blocks, this gap leaves. Plenty of aji. If Black defends above, opens up completely, and White jumps later. White can tanuki and press up on top. Black's area shrinks. White erases much of its territory. The 3-3 invasion is severe. White cannot fight Black head-on. Respect Black's whole chain, not just one star point stone. An ordinary star point against one stone, a counterpincer works. But black has a whole chain. Think globally. Always think from the whole board perspective. Why hang and connect? Black's wall carries several forcing moves. Lot of stones, black may not use. Black may delay them, preserving territory and a topside invasion. Black can also make forcing exchanges from the center first. I want you to learn to view the whole board when reducing an opponent's thickness. Now, let's continue. Back to the game. This is an improved version. Version from an actual game. Early on, white had to block solidly. Both alternatives were awkward. After the early 3-3 invasion, white had to block stubbornly. Black approaches again. Testing white once more. Which of A, B, or C fits this familiar position? Sometimes the move we would not normally play is the right answer. Usually white kicks. After the kick, white pincers or fights. But first ask yourself, can you actually win that fight? White is clearly in danger. Black can seal white in. Right side moyo is huge. If white pincers, black stands, no hane allowed. A careless kick is impossible. Because black. This kick is risky now because black has hidden forcing moves. Normally white can jump, but now black's 2 stones seal white in. Even if white crawls through and even if white connects underneath. The aji is awful. Black tends jump. Black's move hurts. White is unsettled, with no clear defense. Cutting point above. A cutting point. Normally, this move fails. White pincers, black attaches underneath and enters the corner, making white's stone inefficient. But now, white has no choice. White makes a one-space extension. That stone cannot be sacrificed. Painfully sealed. White cannot win the kick fight. By restraining these 2 eyeless stones, white can work on the right. Them eye shape before making trouble on the right. So, white tries A. If black still jumps out forcefully, white's position improves. Black 4 standing here is far better than jumping out, the placement. Black 4 stands. Standing is far better than jumping. White then lives easily, and black cannot defend everything. If white hains, black wedges. White gains eyes, and black loses most of the corner. Black has no continuation. Now what? The corner and cannot tenuki either. If black leaves, white can wedge and cut. That is the white wedges. Jumping and extending differ greatly. Do not treat the kick and the close pincer as the same move. Calculate this carefully. Careful observation and reading lead you to just a one-space extension, practical experience. Go rarely gives you a universal formula, saying, one move must always be played. Later, black attacks white's. Lower right corner, white has to turn. Attachment fails here. Not work, white connects and black cuts immediately. So, white. Forced. The tiger's mouth. Tiger, white cannot hain, white must turn. Black plays diagonally. White extends, black kicks. From white's perspective, what is the most useful move? A natural kick. Connect, and white squeezes later. Squeeze later. Leaving black as kicking is far better than connecting. How should white answer? I want you to think for yourselves, not merely reproduce the game record. Even the move played in a professional game may be wrong. That is why I do. Not. I avoid revealing the game before class, or everyone looks it up. I use recent games. Sometimes the newest ones, to help you understand how strong players think and to extract practical local techniques. Finish your votes. I am not trying to trick you, and many of you have played this well. This was probably Gu Zihao against Byun Sang-il in the three-country team tournament. Gu, China's final player, eventually won with white, but his opening was extremely difficult and passive. A later mistake on that side mistake let white recover. First, standing here is wrong. White is trying to survive and expand, not attack. If black jumps on top, white must get out. After black jumps, white must escape or be counterattacked. Black pushes and cuts brutally. It feels good, but the corner dies, so white must return to defend. Then the center collapses while black keeps the initiative. So this standing move does not reduce black at all. White's move in the game was also wrong and far too aggressive. I prefer the jump. This area can no longer be handled directly. White jumps first, expanding this side. If black peeps, white can simply answer and settle the group. If black jumps out, white follows. No fear here. White can block the Hane. Taking the head first is also fine, but white cannot invade this territory. Those two stones are badly placed, the group has no eyes, and black still has the snapback. On what grounds can white? How could white invade the 3-3? This move caused the losing position. We will see it in the game. It is unreasonable. Being a world champion does not make every move correct. White already has 3 weak groups and cannot keep digging into black's corner. White must handle the lower side. Capturing directly is awkward. You want this capture. Cannot capture? Find some justification. Put some pressure on black. White needs that. Pressure black. Same principle here. Black does not lack. Black has ample eye space. That is why our previous problem stressed playing the Han before the 3-3 invasion. Before the 3-3 invasion, once black enters there, white suffers. Now look at the actual game. The moment white played this move, no matter who the player was, white became passive. Black even offered another chance to stop, but once white had invaded, white could no longer bring himself to back down. White kept fighting head-on, but this local group cannot live. White must Hane to seek life, and black is no soft target who will simply black clamps, white has no eyes. White cannot stand, the position collapses. The upper group barely breathes. What about below? Barely caught its breath, and now the lower side is in danger. White later turned the game around after a black mistake, but at this moment, white's position had already collapsed. First fix the cut. Even then, white is far behind. 2 stones are useless, while the upper group is eyeless and thin. And has no eyes. The lesson is to remain objective and calm, and indifferent. In another shape, the 3-3 invasion is beautiful. Black cannot descend and white jumps out. White jumps out. Hane cannot stop white. If black turns diagonally, white gives Atari and still lives locally. The whole board setting is wrong. This example shows obvious mistakes. Study these moves and Think them through. In my view, White's position was already strained from this point. Clamp. Backing off one line looks better. White overplayed, Black's Hain and countercancer punish it. White could have settled for the kick. Instead, White refused to yield and ended in a very difficult position. White should probably have given Black. The right side and build outside thickness on the left. Do not be discouraged if you miss the answer. The players in the game record can be wrong too. The larger lesson is to respect the opponents. Special stone configuration. After a joseki, the opponent may have support that makes the position completely different from an empty corner or an ordinary enclosure. Whatever the local evaluation, you must respect that support. This is not an ordinary shape, so be careful when playing elsewhere. Let me give you another example. Does this sequence work? A if yes, B if no. The idea is familiar. Does this sequence work? Atari in sente, hane, then leave a cut. Hain, leaving a cut. Answer, White gets sente, ignore, White cuts. Then cut. Does it work? A, yes, B, no. Use A for yes, B for no. No, it fails. Apply what you learned. Good. About 2/3 chose B, and they are right. Two-thirds say it fails. It clearly fails. Watch carefully. I recommended hane. You may think those exchanges profit, since White loses nothing if Black answers. White first is stronger. You go yes. White keeps invading. But have. You considered Black's counterattack? This is exactly why Black pressed. Then, why did White press? Can Black really Atari? White actually win the fight? In an ordinary position, White might have slightly more strength. Add Black's solid wall and all that thickness above. Here is my point. Objectively, White may have to settle for the single hane, even though failing to reach the lower side leaves White short of liberties. Once the fighting spreads upward, White runs straight into a wall. You will hit it headfirst, see stars, grow a huge lump on. your forehead, and come away black and blue. That wall is simply too thick. Without that wall, of course white can fight. White might invade here, or perhaps approach the corner instead. Black cannot simply descend because the balance. Here, black cannot descend. Thickness differs completely. With fewer stones, black may lose the fight. White can counterattack. Black is not thick. Learn this way of thinking. Now switch positions. The next game from this week's rookie tournament. The tournament ended a few. Next example. White chose a one-space corner enclosure, one of several modern options. The one-space enclosure more often. There are two reasons. If black invades and white later links up along the side, this enclosure gives white comfortable spacing. Large knight or wider enclosures connect awkwardly, leave bad aji, and expose the corner. After attaching one line closer, the corner stays vulnerable. Hence, the one-space enclosure is common again. Hear it. Connect here. This is not an empty corner enclosure. White blocked first, then added the one-space enclosure. Check modern games. It has two benefits. But today we are not studying. Black splits at c10, preventing white from linking both sides after fighting begins. Splitting first works. Choose white's response. One option only fills the list. Do not pick it. Eliminate it first, then choose between the other two. This problem is immediately practical. Each week I study recent tournament games. And turn the ideas that can help you directly. I turn such positions into lessons, though I may not remember the exact game. While teaching, so I work through it live. And if you clicked the wrong option by accident, do not worry, the option you meant to choose was wrong too. No injustice done. Why is A correct? This idea has appeared several times. First, identify the bad move, this one. is awful and absolutely cannot be played. If white plays there, why not extend directly? Why enclose? Black gets a spacious left side extension. White extends freely, its wall languishes. White's whole purpose disappears. You may have dismissed A as the fake answer, but did you really examine? This stone configuration? Go has no fixed formula. Open your mind and dare. If black's extension is reasonable, then why not extend directly? Isn't that attractive? Black splits, at least we have. White must stop black extending here, obviously not the upper choice. White cannot extend. B works, but I marked it wrong to introduce a new move. B follows black's plan. Black attacks from the outside. White's carefully built connection disappears. If white tanukis, black attacks normally. If white answers normally, white is pushed toward the lower side. White hates the next move, precisely because of this point. The earlier extension was high because white's development belongs in the center, not along this side. This side is already damaged and open underneath. That is black's plan. White has trouble expanding. White jumps. Black escapes calmly. White caps, its side stays small. Second, press up. White gains one move. And gain, an extra move. The framework never gathers speed. That is the purpose. White simply takes off. Is white one move short? Takes off one move faster. White therefore has a countermeasure, the shoulder hit. We later see the shoulder hit. What exactly does the shoulder hit mean? Hold that. Like game, shoulder hit. The game. Good. And first I want you to choose black's reply. After shoulder hit, where should black play? Other two are at least playable. Do not blame the teacher, your imagination. Teacher never sets traps. If this broadens your thinking, you learned something. Which move must be eliminated? These cases and scattered ideas. Will gradually bring your opening judgment up to date. Traditional Go principles. May point one way, while the AI era sometimes points another. I am disappointed. Half the class missed it, and nobody chose this move. What is wrong with it? Is it? Really that bad? You say black gets hit by a combination. So what? It is only a 2-move exchange. Can you prove black loses from it? Blocking may cost black a little, but this lone stone still has plenty of room to maneuver. A is also playable. Though black would not choose it now, black can take the 2 big points. Teacher, why criticize my press up? You wonder why I criticize pressing up so harshly. Fair question. First, the shoulder hit. Its purpose is clear. Black can only crawl. Locally, black should crawl, then extend. No explanation needed, because white's press would. Miserable. White forces black to play moves 1 and 3, effectively stealing Sante. White shoulder hits first. Why did I? If white extends first, black presses up. Only then. Shoulder hits. You'll understand later. If white extends before shoulder hitting, black presses up and turns, making its stones efficient. White's aim is to. Black crawls, white attacks later, white extends. This is stronger. Gives up. The small and unimportant. Territory on the lower side and. White presses downward. After shoulder hit, white keeps pressing. White can keep pressing after the shoulder hit. It costs territory. Type 1 if clear. A new variation. Strong players now use this modern idea quite often. Why can black not choose C here? Because this is a special position. One more point. Shoulder hit needs 2 conditions, this lower left shape and those 2 supporting stones. In the upper left. 1 supporting stone. Otherwise, it fails. Without those conditions, shoulder hit fails. And does not work. First, this shape, this one, and the upper left must have this 1 space corner enclosure. What if black has this enclosure? Only after enclosing, black pressed up. Kinyan. Black presses up. Black's stone would have. You cannot press up here. Then what? Black cannot hane either. Impossible. No hane. After losing points, hane fails. Black cannot win the fight. Black does not. If you han, obviously. Black hanes. Why play this? That move loses too. Who would? Black splits here. Emoji if clear, please. With a large knight enclosure. No extension, no splitting. Black would not play. Only one space shape works. Then black can split. No extensions. Only then does this shoulder hit idea work. A wider enclosure removes this option. Why would black split? Without that supporting shape, white cannot. Shoulder hit. No shoulder hit. What shoulder hit? Hane aside. Either stone may hane. I won't hane. And even. Without the hane, black encloses more than white. This idea is designed specifically for the one space corner enclosure. Black should crawl or tanuki. Even tanuki and accepting Atari beats pressing up. This is a practical idea, and players at your level can understand why. Now let me finish the follow-up. White has a clear way to pressure black, the press. Once white presses, black cannot get out, and white can. Seals it in. When black hanes, white clamps. Instead of black must hane. Black jumps, white kicks, then peeps. The vital point: hane, clamp, no extension. White clamps, black cannot extend. That stone dies. Must connect. Say, black must connect. A complete blockade. White seals black in completely. Cutting only makes the loss even worse. Second, this has two continuations. For territory, white can kick, black suffers. Remember both follow-ups. Black extends, white han connects. Black stones become ugly and inefficient. Ugly shape. Look, a cut remains. Otherwise, white hane connects in sente. Ignore the cut, the eye disappears, leaving too few. Black's eye shape. Even finding a good defense is difficult. Defending toward the center does not make the group alive. Only local life and death. Nice. Jumping centrally kills black's left group. Once sealed outside, the group cannot make two eyes. Defend and it may still die, ignore it and it dies. Annoying. White can turn diagonally above. Pressing below makes black uncomfortable too. From B, nobody minds this move. A kick does not bother black. White cannot seal. Black in. The shoulder hit. Is clearly better weather. Shoulder hit beats B. Whether kicking from above or pressing below, right? Black cannot be sealed after B. The black can answer the kick, lift the head, and get out. Whether black is pressed or kicked, the position remains spacious. The shoulder hit is an effective improvement. Locally black still answers. And white protects. After which black may need to jump immediately. If black does not, white gets a Pressing up loses more, black stones become inefficient. Do not panic. One more question. After this sequence, white must settle before black fights. Which final move should white choose? Be willing. To think creatively. My questions often hide an unexpected move, so do not reject A merely. Because it is uncommon. B and C are the ordinary local continuations. You have 20 seconds. But this time, imagination alone does not help. A is absolutely impossible. Ignore my hints and make. Your own judgment. A is used when white has a suits large frameworks when extension risks go T. White first. White pushes in sente, then links up or expands. But how can white expand now? But where can white expand now? White's framework already. Corner Heen is also bad. A has no future and only enlarges black side. Never play A. Out of the question. A makes sense in a different position. Perhaps a black stone sits on the extending falls behind. If fighting is urgent, take sente first. Or when no two-space extension exists. When immediate press-up threatens, then white may take cent before linking up. None of that applies here. B is the proper move and has nothing wrong with it. Watch later. After white gets turned against. Why uncomfortable? White would normally tenuki. But black. The painful point lies underneath. Black can peep at this vital point. Learn this shape. Peep ruins white's shape. The bend underneath leaves white short of liberties. White cannot attach safely. The bend gets netted. If white bends, after white stands, the turn hurts. Defending costs another move. What does white's Hane aim for? Pressing up risks Atari and stand. While avoiding black's Atari and stand, D-stones lose value. And reduce the blocking after living is go T. No block and black jumps in. Then all 8 white stones become useless. Type 1 if clear. White's 8. Blocking is slow, far too slow. Now watch the real purpose. Watch the brilliant point. White hanes, black blocks. Then white cuts. In this position. Now Joseki fails. Does not care. White ignores the ladder. White ignores ladder, sealing black. Seals. Black in. Black's group is close to collapse. It can no longer extend on the left. Black has to sound the alarm. Black cannot even break out to fight. Black gets counter-surrounded, alive, but miserable. No outside escape. But Black collapses. Answer. Black needs a second line diagonal move. Create more eye space. Without A, no fight, even Hane fails. White simply bends, no debate. If black kicks, white captures, same result. That simply dies. White needs those stones. White could not do this. White uses every available bit of firepower. No escape. Black cannot bend. Black cannot play there. Black cannot capture. Black must capture this. No counter-capture exists. No cross-shape. Black captures. White gives Atari. Black must capture. Black must take. Connecting still beats extending. The turn remains. The white presses back. Class nearly over. This was Wang Xinghao's game in the rookie tournament. Wang won 7 straight games and took the title. An easy, crushing championship. No suspense. What did white gain? Sealing black in. Let's continue. Sealing beats a simple extension. After black turns, white tanukis. Cheerfully, tanuki, because the old forcing Atari no longer works. That extra press removes black's annoying aji. Has vanished. For good. Black must stop white pressing up, then counterattack, and must counterattack. After the fighting sequence, the troublesome point. Annoying jump gone. White stones become even more efficient. Pressing invited Atari and stand. White has effectively forced black into a tiger's mouth. Almost Atari tiger. Black's result may be. This leaves a forcing kick. White still has the forcing kick here. Without black's push, black would stand rather than make the tiger's mouth because the stand is larger. You may have seen strong. One final point for everyone. Once this is clear, everything connects. Let me explain the final distinction. Black backs off. Why not tanuki? Why does white sometimes answer? Type 1 if clear, almost done. White fears cutting through. White is afraid of black cutting from. The center on. Immediate attack here. White has given up the eye. After jumping, black attacks both groups. Scary center cut. That cut attacks both white, connect. This connection defends something else. This connection defends elsewhere, not defending. The local push, it, prevents the fourth line cut. Now the game result becomes almost magical. After white's precise sequence, white. Center cut? Ridiculous. Cut is a joke. Black can. Barely get out. Cut centrally? How can black cut? White already has support here, using every available stone. That is true strength. The center cut exists, but black dares not. Now you see, black cannot, and must give. Third line Atari only, after white has already profited. White can tanuki and play elsewhere. Black stones are already inefficient, so no hane. Head honey unnecessary. Paper tiger. Hane only improves black stones. White has achieved the goal and should tanuki. That is mastery. I hope you have learned practical local ideas for the AI era and several techniques you can use immediately. That's all for today.